So a lot of people don't think that they are creative. In fact, some reports say that only 40% of people identify as being creative. And to be honest, I used to be like that. Before starting this channel almost 2 years ago, I always saw myself as someone that wasn't creative. And I even thought that creativity was just something that you either had or you didn't. However, since creating this YouTube channel almost 2 years ago and pumping out videos, creativity is one of the first words I would use to define myself. So in this video, based on my experience of changing my perception of how I see myself as now a creative person, I want to share how you can change your perception too and how you can become more creative in your own life. Okay, so first I want to define what is creativity. And I have a pretty pragmatic definition of creativity. So I think being creative is simply coming up with ideas and executing on those ideas. So in that sense, you can be creative in a lot of fields. So athletes are creative, like Kobe, he was very creative. YouTubers, painters, even, if you're working in business, you can become creative simply from coming up with solutions to some of the problems that you face. So in that sense, being creative is something that is necessary for all of us and something that we can all practice. So now for the remainder of this video, I want to focus on the two aspects of creativity. So part one, coming up with ideas, and part two, actually executing on those ideas. Okay, so how do you come up with better ideas? So I think that there are two ways of looking at this. So number one, you can look at your current system for coming up with ideas. So how do you currently come up with ideas to problems that you face? And I think it's really important that you take a moment to really look at your process for coming up with ideas. So I just say, take a moment to pause this video and really think about what was the last big problem that you faced, and how did you come up with the solution for that problem? And the reason why I say to look at your current system is because, again, a lot of people, we don't see ourselves as creative, but actually if you look at what you're currently doing, you may realize that actually you do have a system for coming up with ideas, but you just don't realize it. And being self-aware, that's something that is very necessary to become more creative. So again, really look at your current system and see how you come up with ideas to your big problems in your life. Okay, so after you look at your current system, the next thing is to look at how other people come up with ideas and seek other people for inspiration. So I guess for this part, I'm gonna share really how I come up with ideas and just some ways that have helped me, be more creative and really come up with more ideas. So the first thing that I do is I put away my electronics, because it's really important that you have a clear mind when you're coming up with ideas. So I will turn off my electronics, and from there are a couple things you can do. So I know, for me, I go on walks. Sometimes I will eat without, headphones, or I will use my commute to just think. And even right now, before I go to bed, I have a 30-minute period where I just turn off my electronics and I just let my mind wander. And really, again, the goal of this is to really remove the electronics and give myself some space to actually think with a clear mind. And this method is actually backed up by science. Barbara Oakley, she has a really good book called A Mind for Numbers, and she talks about two ways of thinking. So we have the focus method, and then we have the diffuse method. When you're focused on a problem, that's the focus method. You're actively thinking about a problem and coming up with solutions. But then you also have the diffuse method, which is basically your mind will passively in the background come up with ideas and solutions for your problems. So I think of letting my mind wander as really the diffuse method, because I'm just passively sitting and just letting my mind wander. And when I let my mind wander, my brain usually just comes up with ideas. And usually I'm not even actively seeking a solution, but when I let my mind wander, it allows me to observe my thoughts. And this is how I come up with more ideas for any problems I'm facing, whether it's a video idea. I would just let my mind wander and ideas will come up. Okay, so while turning off your electronics and kind of just letting your mind wander is a great way to come up with ideas, it's also important to seek inspiration from other people. And so ways that I do this, so I have a couple of people that I look to for creative inspiration, right? And it doesn't just have to be YouTubers. It can be athletes. For example, Kobe, he's an inspiration, just his mindset, the Mamba mentality. I have specific shows and specific thought leaders that, I get inspiration from. But again, the point of this is to look at other people's work and really get inspiration from this. And Austin Kleon, he actually has a book about this called Steal Like an Artist. And basically, like, his thesis is that, we get inspiration from other people, right? And we actually steal work from other people, and we kind of create our own interpretation of that work. So I remember, like, when I was first starting this channel, I would look at like other YouTubers for inspiration. So like Elliot Choi, for example, he was a college lifestyle YouTuber. I would basically look at his videos and I would copy certain elements of his videos and kind of just try and do it. But eventually, as I have progressed as a YouTuber, I have, sought other people for inspiration, and I've tried to emulate other people. But then again, like, as you progress and as I've personally progressed, it kind of just becomes my own work because I have a different interpretation of what I see as great work. And so I guess, like, to make a long story short, really just seek other people for inspiration and basically try and copy what they do at the start. But as you progress, you'll have your own interpretation of what you see as great work. Also, I didn't mention this, but even look at your friends and, your family for inspiration. I know for videos, I actually get inspiration just from, some conversations I have with my friends or just like other peers. I will actually just generate video ideas from those conversations. So again, you can get inspiration from pretty much anywhere. You have to really look hard enough and just reflect on experiences. Okay, so how do you better execute? So I see this as kind of like a 3-step process. So the first step is to set specific goals that are difficult to achieve. And there's actually a theory for this called goal setting theory. I think it was developed by Edwin Locke. But basically, again, he says that in this theory that, you need to set specific goals, and it's better to set difficult goals than to set easy goals, because basically with difficult goals, you have to challenge yourself, and you're usually like more excited to achieve a difficult goal than to achieve an easy goal. So I know when I was starting out this YouTube channel, one way that I set, specific goals that were difficult to achieve was to basically just say, okay, I'm going to post one video every week. And the reason why it was that specific number, so, when I started this YouTube channel, I didn't know how to edit. I had no prior filming experience or planning experience for videos. So I saw like setting one video a week as a goal that would, it was very specific, but also it was very difficult to achieve because I had no prior experience. And then number 2 is to have an accountability partner. And this is really important. I've actually noticed that something that's good about this YouTube channel is that you guys can actually hold me accountable, because every time I post a video, then I see that, like, okay, people are responding to the video. And if I look at my YouTube channel and I see that, okay, I haven't posted for 2 weeks or a month, then obviously I haven't been consistent, and basically just seeing that feedback actually holds me accountable. However, I think going beyond YouTube, I think one way to really hold yourself accountable is to tell one person, at least one person, about a specific project or really a specific goal that you're trying to achieve. And the reason why is because I think as humans, we aren't the greatest at holding ourselves accountable. So if you hold yourself accountable by actually telling people what you're trying to achieve, and you don't have to tell the whole world, right? But if you just tell one specific person, then they can hold you accountable. And also, if they're actually like working on something that they want to achieve too, then you guys can motivate yourselves by telling each other your goals and basically holding each other accountable. And then I would say the final step is to really just be forgiving of yourself. So I know, for example, again, like when I was starting this channel, I knew that I would suck at the start. Like, I knew my videos were trash. And I actually found that accepting this really motivated me to keep going, because I knew, like, okay, this video that I'm putting out, it may suck right now, but the next video will be better, right? So really, like, in your own lives, it's just important to know that, at the start of anything, you're not going to be great, right? But if you keep on going and if you forgive yourself for not being great right now, but know that you're going to improve, then it will allow you to keep on going and to keep producing things even if you aren't great right now. So really just forgiving yourself allows you to give yourself the peace of mind, right? And also I think forgiving yourself is so important because from my experience, if you continue to produce work, right? So I know, again, like for these videos, the more I post, the more creative I become. Because as I've continued to, post videos, I've noticed like, okay, I'm better at coming up with ideas. My system, for coming up with ideas is better, but then also I begin to identify myself as, this thing that I want to be. So like creative, for example. So again, it's important to remember, like for whatever you're doing, you're not going to be great at the start, but as you continue to produce, you're going to refine your systems and you're going to identify with the thing that you are trying to become. So yeah, those are my tips for becoming more creative in your own life. And again, this was based off of my experience of posting these YouTube videos for the past 2 years and changing my perception as someone that I didn't think that was creative, right? I didn't think that I had a creative bone in my body, honestly. And it was one of my biggest insecurities, but just like continuing to show up, right? And continuing to challenge myself and execute, that really, changed my perception to being someone that, I'm definitely very creative and I know that now. But most importantly, I know that you guys can become creative in your own lives, and it just comes with changing your perception, and that starts with actually starting and then just executing. But yeah, so that wraps up this video. If you guys enjoyed, please feel free to like and subscribe. Really helps the channel, push out the videos to more people. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching this video, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.